glad you're here, and I'm so excited to share this with you because back pain for me was a big obstacle. I was diagnosed with chronic back pain in my early 20s, and it's something that really started to zap the joy in my life. So when I found my practice and when I found these asanas and these movements to help release and relieve me of that back pain, man, it really changed the entire vibration of my life. So I'm so excited to show you. What we're going to do is straight away, we're going to come into standing. And a lot of the time what happens in just how we think is when we feel pain or when we feel discomfort, the immediate thing is we resist it and we ignore it and we distract our mind to numb it. But what happens then is then that pain just starts to exacerbate and roll and get bigger and bigger. So the first thing I want you to do is actually feel again, okay? Bring your awareness to where that soreness is. So simply just closing your eyes and sending your breath traveling all the way around the lower back and just noticing. Now, take the stance and be gentle with yourself. So I just want you to just gently massage to the side. Okay, so start from the spine, from the center of the spine. Massage out. So go about 5 times with just outward strokes. And then release, exhale, let it release out on the opposite foot. And this is very energetically bringing together the naris, the meridians that help govern the circulation of energy around the base of the spine, okay? And then exhale opposite, yeah? So if you're doing the right side of the back, then you're sweeping the left leg. So the 3 things that really affect lower back pain is posture, yeah, it's a tightness in the hamstrings, and it's a weak core. So when we can address this physiologically, it really makes a difference. But how we do that also comes approach from a mindful place, from a place of love. So same thing, other side, 5 sweeps, and then release and lift. Just let it go, okay? Just circulate that energy. And last time, we're going to do about 3 to 4 times on each side. Okay, so here also what I want you to notice when it comes to posture, we're going to start with that. It is, are your hips swaying forward? Okay, if you're one and you're wearing heels a lot, we have this natural lordosis where there's an overarching in the lower back. So can you get your heels to feel heavy? Can you bring their space where the hips are in line with the knees and the ankles? And at the same time, what happens is we roll inward, yeah? So can you allow an opening in your chest so that your shoulders, your hips, your knees and your ankles all fall in the same line? And just keeping that extension, openness, keeping that space, breathe into that space. Breathe in and feel the expansion from the belly, from the ribcage, from the chest. And just notice how a change in posture changes the rhythm of the breath because there's now more space to breathe into. So you can take deeper breaths and you can take longer breaths. So your breath has an impact on the posture and the posture has an impact on the breath. Okay, so just being mindful of that relationship there. So setting up my favorite pose, my favorite standing pose when it comes to lower back pain is called chair pose. Basically what it does is it strengthens all the muscles that have been asleep that has caused this back pain. So it immediately wakes up the lower spine, yeah, the central column, the central spinal column. So it opens that up. You want to open up the chest by lifting your arms So you're breathing high into the chest, open, nice expansion around the side body. At the same time, you're engaging your legs, you're engaging your hips so that you can breathe easy, and the weight is now in your hips rather than in your spine. Okay, so you're opening out and you breathe. Okay, stay here. This is chair pose. Stay here for about 10 deep breaths. You're inhaling and reaching your hands up. You're exhaling, you're sitting your hips down. This really opens the flexibility around your hips and frees the tension and the tightness around the lower back. This is also really good if you've got tight hamstrings. That helps to open up and release that, okay? Chair pose. Second pose we're going to go through is called locust. So it's almost the Superman pose that you might have seen. You build on it. So first you stay and interlace your fingers and rest your head on your hands. So the full pose is where both legs are lifted, which we will get to. But first I need you to ascertain which side of the lower back feels weaker. So we do things gently and we do things safely as we progress layer by layer, adding strength. Okay, so the next then you just lift one leg and you hold it and you notice. So you try to keep the knee straight and the thigh off the floor. And it doesn't matter how high your leg lifts. You simply want to just feel the glutes engage and the lower lumbar engage. It's also very good for your core strength. Yeah, so this is half locust pose. And repeat on the other side, just to notice, to breathe into that side of the back, to breathe into that side of the hip, and to feel, to be aware, and to breathe. So you want to be pushing down with the leg that's straight on the floor and lifting up with the leg and the toes. It will be heavy in your chest, also heavy in your head. And then if you're comfortable, you can lift both legs up. So again, you want to be squeezing your glutes together. You want to lift. And if you're comfortable, you can go in to the full pose where you lift the arms and the legs. Relax. The last pose, we've gone through the flexibility of the hips and the hamstrings through the chair pose in that standing position. We strengthen the lower back in the locust one step at a time before you go into the full pose. The last one is now working into the core, because if the core is not active, the weight is then borne at the back. Yeah, so it'll compensate. So what you want to do is bring the muscles to engage so that it can hold the weight that they're made to hold, so that it relieves the back from holding on to that weight. Simple and effective. Come into a plank pose. This is a basic high push-up position. You want your wrists, elbows, and shoulders in the same line. Spread your fingers, palm the mat with your hands. Palm them, feel your fingertips, feel the knuckles press deeply into the floor. And then slowly, one leg at a time, you straighten. Okay? Keep your gaze forward, your arms active, and try to keep your hips up. So you're not dipping, because otherwise you're going back into that lordosis, right? You're dropping and overarching the spine. We don't want to do that. We want to create an integrity by creating that strength in your core and releasing that overarch in the lower back. And breathe here. Try to come up onto your toes to really feel that the majority of the weight held here is around the core. Stay here for 10 deep breaths and repeat a couple of times until you start to feel your strength and your stamina build. Thank you. Love your practice, and your practice will love you. Namaste.